Ladies and gentlemen, buckle up. We are about to explore Looker Studio and Google Sheets and hopefully give you all the tools you need to get started building out awesome reports that you're able to wow your coworkers, your bosses, and your clients with using Looker Studio to build out these things. So if you without further ado, if you have not yet downloaded the Looker Studio cheat sheet, go over to LookerStudio.VIP/YouTube, pick up the cheat sheet. Also, lots of other fun custom visualizations over there, but enough about me. Let's hop into it. So the first thing you want to think of is, what are you trying to accomplish? Okay, I'm going to hop into sharing Google Sheets right in a second, but what you need to first understand is, what question are you asking of the information? And then ultimately, what action are you going to take? Those two questions and actions are what allow you to build a visualization that makes the most sense, right? Because sometimes you'll build a visualization that does not make any sense because you didn't ask a question, you were just playing with data, which we all do time to time. That's totally okay. So first ask your questions and then build your actions and then build your Looker Studio report. So let's just hop into it. We're gonna start with a blank Looker Studio report, which looks like this. All right, you got nothing right here. And I'm gonna just pull up on the screen here is some demo user data that is 100% fake. So in this demo user data, we're gonna look at this transaction information. So this is like fake data. We've got a first name, we got a last name, we got an email, we've got widgets, and then we've got the amount, transaction date, and transaction ID, just to keep it simple. On the back to the Looker Studio report, let's first add that data. When you come in here to add data, I want to show you a few things. First thing I'll do is click Add Data. This is going to pop up a little thing behind me, as you can see right there. And then what you're going to do is select Google Sheets. So let me just pull this on up so you can see Google Sheets right there behind my big old head. And what we're going to do is click on that. Now we have the option to select any of our spreadsheets. You can also look owned by you, shared with me. Also, they're starred, and then you can grab the URL. The URL is something that people don't use very often, but if you are a person that has lots of Google Sheets and you don't know where it is and you have the URL from somebody else, you can always drop that in right here. And lastly is opening up from Google Drive, which will take you to Google Drive where you can find the Google Sheet. But if you're going to do that, you might as well go to your all items and search from here. Okay, so that's what you probably should do. The share with me is also helpful just in case, but I'm going to select this 100% fake demo data right here. And now you can see all the different tabs that we have, which are sheets technically in Looker Studio or in Google Sheets, and you can select them. Now you've got these three options over here on the far right. I'm going to select the transactions, which is going to correlate to this Google Sheets right here, Stripe transactions, and we can go from there. So now you have options. Use first row as headers. Most of the time, people format their Google Sheets in this exact format where you have rows at the top that indicate, hey, we got first name in this row, in this column, we've got last name in this column, we've got email in this column, etc. There might be a case in time when you don't have that, when you don't need that. If that's the time, you can use that checkbox. I don't think I've ever not checked it. Including hidden and filtered cells is really helpful because if you're filtering something, it will like not show up in your Google Sheet. But if you uncheck this, then it will not include those. So just keep that in mind. Down here is the ranges. This is the most overlooked aspect of Google Sheets and Looker Studio. You can actually select a range that is not A1 and beyond. So right now we've got cell A1 right here all the way to column G. But what if we had something over here where it was, let's just say, I don't know, age, or maybe we had total sales and we had total people, okay? And total sales, we had just $123, and total people was 56, okay? This is a different data set from the aspect of like data scientists and engineering. But if you wanted to select that, what you could do is you could come in here and you could select I through J. And we would just be selecting those two columns, column I and column J, and it would not reference any of the other information that is inside of our Google Sheet, okay? That is very, very useful whenever you need that, and some people forget about it, but it is an option. What you can also do is if you have ugly Google Sheets because you have clients or friends or customers that keep adding new rows and it'll break your Google or Looker Studio report, what you can do, which I'd implore you to do, is you can just say right here is I want A1 through, so with a semicolon, through G. So if I A1 to G and I hit add, all right, no changes found. But now it's pulling in all of those rows and columns, but I can add anything in H, I can add anything here, and it won't break the connection because it's not looking at all of row 1 for those header names. So if you're ever in a scenario where you need to change that over time, or people adding more columns, anything like that, don't worry about it. Just use that. Okay, now the data's in here. Let's talk through our options of looking at this data. We have the first names here, and we have the ability to kind of drill into all the fields that we have. The question you want to start with is a question, is what is our question that we have? Maybe we want to know by month, how many repeat transactions do we have? And that's what we're trying to trend line. So what you can do now is you take this, and you can start playing with your data. You have dimensions and you have metrics over here on the right-hand side. And so what we can do is we can say, hey, I want to know the date, okay, the transaction date, which is going to put on the right-hand side. And we're going to actually group this by month. So date, change it to the month. So now we can say, okay, we've got February, January, February, and March of 2022. All right, we're looking pretty good there. And we have the record count here, but maybe we wanted to say, I want to know the number of transactions that we had per month, okay? Well, how do we know what a transaction is? Well, that's the transaction ID is a unique transaction. So if we drag that over here, you'll see if it's probably pretty small for you, but right here is it says sum in very tiny letters, but if you hit edit on that, you can then change the type of aggregation it's happening to this number. So maybe you wanted to know the sum of those transaction IDs. Not be helpful because they'd be numbers, but maybe you wanted to count distinct. How many unique transaction IDs did we have? Now we know that. We know how many unique transactions we've had per month. And then what if we wanted to then add in here is the transaction amount, okay? So say we wanted to say, the amount that we was transacted here, we can sum it up. So you can see now we have the total amount right here that we made each month, as well as how many unique transactions. I think you might notice a problem is that there's no dollar signs associated with that. If we head back to our Google Sheet, you'll see that there is dollar signs. So what might happen is that if you select your entire column in Google Sheets, what you can do is you come in here to data, and then, format, number, and then you can say currency, okay? It is already formatted like that. And then what you can do is you can come back in here, hit edit, hit refresh fields, edit connection, reconnect, there we go, sorry. Sometimes you gotta do a couple of things here. Hit done, and it still didn't work. So how you can do is force it. So if you hit edit on your data source, come down here under where it says amount, it knows it's a number, but it doesn't know it's a currency. So you can come in here and select the currency that you'd like it to be in. So now it's a currency. It'll add a dollar sign right for you right there. Okay, so now we've got the transactions, unique transactions per month, and we've gotten the amount per month. What if we wanted to have the average revenue per customer? Okay, so that's something that we might want to say is, hey, what's the average revenue per customer? How would we figure that out? There's a couple of options here. So what we can do is we can create our own formulas. I'm going to create a new field right here in the data source. And what we want to do is count distinct of the emails because we don't have a customer ID. We only have the email. So counting the unique number of emails is going to give us the total number of emails that are unique. What we can also do in the same function is we can count, or we can sum the amount of money. Okay, so now we have two functions in one field right now. We're gonna do some math in a second. And so right now we're saying, hey, number of unique transaction, number of unique people, total amount. Then what we can do is divide these together. So now we have the total amount of money that we made divided by the unique number of emails that we have, which we want to return it out as a currency in the US dollar because I'm in the US and there we go, boom. So here you can see the average revenue per customer. So here are our AOV, average order value, or actually it might be the lifetime value of a customer. You can see that right there. So this is where we're starting to play with the Google Sheets formulas inside of Looker Studio and building out the answer to our questions. So maybe we want to turn this over time. Let's turn it into a quick trend graph because, hey, that would be helpful. And so let's just take this. I'm just going to copy this entire chart that we have, move it down, hit Command C, Command V if you're playing at home. We're going to turn it into a time series chart. A time series chart is really important because it keeps track of the time. All right, so now what you can see, Okay, so I can see per month, it is looking at the exact, the same information just turned on a horizontal, and now we're looking at it as a time series. Super, super helpful. But this is where things start to get really, really exciting is if you go back to our table here, I'm gonna make this a little bit bigger just so we can all be seeing it together. Let's make the header size 20 and then make the body size 18. And if you double click these, it'll auto resize. And so now, what if we wanted to, for example, filter by product? Okay, so say we have March, January, February, March, which we can sort by that. Come down here, we can change our sort to the date and time field. So January, February, March. I'm not sure why I said Marth there. And now what we're able to do is sort into products because we have the products in our information. We're going to add a control. A control allows you to filter information and say, hey, I want to filter by something in particular. In this case, we're going to filter by product. You need a date and a product. So now we have widget 1, widget 2, widget 1, widget 3, widget 2. You might be asking yourself, why on earth is that the case? And the reason why is because there might be spaces inside of your Google Sheet. I know, it's mind-blowing. Spaces can really, really mess you up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an interstitial field that's going to be a clean product. So you have two options. Option one is you come through here and you find the spaces. So here you can see there's a space after the one, and there's a space after one. There's no space after this one. So what we can do is I'm going to create a new field, right? Another field that's doing a layer of manipulation upon this. And we're going to use a function called regex replace. I know it's getting advanced here, but I want to show you just because this is something that happens a lot with Google Sheets. So we're going to replace in our product, right? And we're going to look for a space. So, which is symbolized by a \s, and we're going to replace it with nothing, okay? So this, in theory, oopsies, we need 2 backslashes, I believe. And this should go and replace any spaces with nothing to get rid of our spaces. That should standardize the method of our information so that way every single time we reference our Google Sheets, we can then use this function to clean things up inside of Looker Studio if we don't know how to do it in Google Sheets. So let me just fill this up real quick. And we're going to just name it product -C. All right, so this is gonna go and find every single space and replace it with nothing, just giving us a standard product, which we can also, like sometimes what we'll do is replace it with a hyphen, but nothing is good enough. Okay, so now we should have our product C right here, product clean, widget 1, widget 2, widget 3. Ta-da! And you can apply this to pretty much anything. It's just I'm using a Google Sheet for this example and a product name. But now what you could do is select product 1 and we can see, hey, over time, how much did we trend? Product 2, bada bing, bada boom, product 3. Okay, so now using that same Google Sheet, we can then layer in something even more special. So what I'm gonna do is take this, We are then going to add a new chart. We're going to add a stacked column chart, which is something that a lot of people don't ever use. And what we're going to do is we are going to, I'm not sure why this is being wild, is we're going to add our dimension as the date, transaction date. We are then going to put this by week instead of by month. So here we can come in here, the ISO year week. We can just name it week. And then we're going to have our breakdown by the product -C, or the product clean product. And then here we're going to have in the amount. So now, just to put so everyone playing it along at home, is that we are going to have the date across the x-axis, which is by week. So it's grouping things by week from January, February, and March. And then we have the amount at the top, and we're going to break it down by the product. Right now, we have the product widget 3 selected, but we can deselect that. And now what you should see is that, hey, we've got the reference line here to see how we are trending on different products. Pretty sweet, right? Bam. And if we change that to a stacked column chart, it will then stack it right there. And then lastly, we just need to make sure that we are sorting by the date, because you might be like, whoa, 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 we're down, we're going down really badly. But in actuality, why is this not? Sometimes, in actuality, what's happening is it's sorting by amount. So if we just change this sort to be sorting by the week, bada bing, bada boom, ta-da. Okay, so now you can see how each week we've been going up and down. The blue product is by far the most, widget 3 is by far the most revenue. You can see the transaction date is by ISO week, but you can easily change this to be something different, right? We could have the month, the ISO week without the year. We could have the quarter, month, etc. So that's where it all comes out. So now, at least you should have the idea of A, how to connect a Google Sheet, B, all the different options you have to select a Google Sheet, and then C, how to start playing with your data with using information that you already have. So just to recap, make sure you are asking good questions, because 9 times out of 10, you have the data. It exists. You have the marketing information. You just have to put a question in front of it so that you can derive an action out of it. So if you like this, give it a like. I will create more videos on how to use Google Sheets within Looker Studio for your future as a Looker Studio master. All right, my name is JJ. I'll see you in the next one.